How to play the A minor 7th chord. When the A minor 7th is referred to in chord charts, guitar music and tablature, it's referred to as Am7. You'll notice there are two completely different shapes in the open position for the A minor 7th. Firstly, we'll look at the easiest shape, but then at the end of this tutorial we'll cover the more difficult shape. So here's how to play the A minor 7th. Firstly, place the first finger in the first fret of the B string. Then place the second finger in the second fret of the D string. Now strum. You'll notice in the chord chart that there's an X on the bottom string. This means you don't play this string. So when you strum your A minor 7th, you strum the top 5 strings only. Now let's look again how to play the A minor 7th but with a guitar. Firstly, press the first finger in the first fret of the B string. Then press the second finger in the second fret of the D string. Now strum. If your A minor 7th chord isn't sounding quite right, the first thing we need to do is double check the tuning of the guitar. So take all your fingers off the guitar and play each string of the guitar one by one. If your guitar is obviously out of tune, or you need to check it with a tuner, pause the video here and tune your guitar before continuing. Now place your fingers back on the guitar in an A minor 7th shape. So place the first finger in the first fret of the B string. Then place the second finger in the second fret of the D string. And now strum. If your A minor 7th chord still sounds wrong, you need to play each note of the chord one by one in order to isolate the strings with the problems. If your fingered strings are muted or not sounding right, you need to look at them carefully. Check they're properly between the frets and not resting on the frets, or even in the wrong frets or on the wrong strings. Also, make sure you're pressing the strings hard enough. This is the most common problem when people first start learning the guitar. Try to make sure your fingers are central on the strings and not coming off the strings or overlapping other strings that they shouldn't be touching. If they aren't on the strings correctly, they'll be muting the open strings so the open strings don't ring correctly. If this is happening, you need to move your fingers around and try to get them as far as possible onto their tips, and don't allow them to lie down over the guitar. Another thing you need to do is make sure the thumb isn't too far around the guitar. Bring it down towards the floor. This allows the fingers to stretch out and brings them onto their tips and helps prevent the open strings from being muted. As you're adjusting your fingers and your thumb position, keep retrying the chord note by note in order to see if it's improving. Let's have a look at the alternative shape for this chord. You may be wondering why two completely different shaped chords can have the same name. Well, without going into too much detail, because this is a beginner's lesson, it's to do with the G note. The difference between an A minor and an A minor 7th is that G note. And there are two places you can add the G in order to create a G minor 7th. One place is the 3rd fret of the top E string, and the other is to allow the open G string to ring. Right, let's play this version of the A minor 7th. Firstly, press the first finger in the first fret of the B string. Then press the second finger in the second fret of the D string. Next, press the third finger in the second fret of the G string. Finally, press the fourth finger in the third fret of the top E string. And now strum. Let's see that done on a guitar. Firstly, press the first finger in the first fret of the B string. Then, press the second finger in the second fret of the D string. Now, press the third finger in the second fret of the G string. Finally, press the fourth finger in the third fret of the top E string. Now strum. If your chord doesn't sound right or you're not happy with the sound, you need to repeat the steps we did earlier in order to isolate the problem and correct it. But if you end up sticking with the easier version of the chord, this doesn't really matter because they're both interchangeable. The main thing is you enjoy playing the guitar.